Oh shit. Here we go again.
I had written, recorded, edited, and nearly published a whole video before I noticed some key details that serve as irrefutable proof that my theory is correct. So I had to come back and update it and edit to correct the areas where it was slightly off. But I was still pretty close based off of my evidence that I had before.
And now, on with the show.
One of the largest interests of the past video was my take on Gorr the God Butcher. So I'm going to be honest with all of you. I knew almost nothing about Gorr before making this video outside of that he wields all black the Necrosword and, well, his frankly bad interpretation in the MCU. But I am here to say I could not be any more wrong. Gorr is an awesome character who just got done dirty, and I was worse for it. Until I did my research, of course. Thanks to all of you who stuck it out and made sure I did. Gorr has a pretty short but impactful history, but I have now learned that I was wrong to lessen his importance to that cinema flop. I was wrong to imply that he is not an anticipated hero. I was wrong to make you all think that he would just be a Wolverine clone. No, Gorr won't be an anti-tank beefy assassin like Wolverine or Iron Fist. He is going to be a hero that can take down the gods. All the gods. Not just Thor, but Angela, and Loki, and even Hela. No, not a Wolverine clone. But instead, make him a Scarlet Witch clone!
You need to leave!
Okay, hear me out. I may have exaggerated a bit to get you riled up. It's honestly a bit of Devil Dino, a dash of Scarlet Witch, a cup of magic, and a spoonful of Namor. But I have the sauce, so let me cook. Because apparently this format works pretty well, we're going to answer 3 questions. When, why, and how Gorr the God Butcher is still going to be a duelist, not a Vanguard. With the how, again, dropping a full fan-made kit to show how this character could work the way that I am suggesting. Okay, so legit looking into all of this, I have come very close to changing my mind about not only Gorr's placement in the release schedule, but also his role. But it does still technically make more sense for Gorr to be released first and as a duelist. But you guys want more. You crave blood. So instead of re-explaining everything I explained in the last video, I'm going to instead explain the lore reasons why Gorr is coming before Nightcrawler. So Gorr has been teased since the beginning of the game, with the Necrosword being a key focus of maps in not only Season 0, but Season 3. Then with the conflict of the gods and the assassination of the gods leading into the murder of Apocalypse, it is clear that since Null has been dealt with, Gorr and All Black have been very busy together. Season 10 is going to be a season of the faithful versus the anti-faithful in relation to the gods. Nightcrawler and Gorr are going to represent these two sides. But we first have to figure out why Gorr will be helping us instead of being a villain. And he would continue to be a villain if it isn't for what happens at the beginning of next season. What if next season is the season of, are the gods kind of the baddies? I think we have seen enough of Heaven and Thebes though, so they're going to shake things up and bring back an old location very important to the corruption of the gods and the story of Null, one we haven't seen in a long time. In fact, one of the original Season 0 locations. That's right, we're going back to Wakanda. What? Did you expect me to say Clintar? I mean, again? Nah, there is no reason that Gorr would want to be on Clintar after swiping the Necrosword and getting the hell out of there. Not to mention, don't you remember the lore of Hall of Dajalia? You don't? Well, I don't blame you. Until recently, I was pretty sure it had no lore. But turns out there is a reason we escort the statue of Bast. It's because Null had corrupted the gods, including Bast. No worries though. Phoenix purged the corruption from the gods in the divine space. So I think that's exactly where we're going. Exactly where Gorr wants to be, of course. a place where he can kill as many gods as he wants, the defined space. But that is if he were still a villain. But we need him to be our friend. That would only make sense if two things were to happen. We need the story to progress based off of the clues given at the end of Season 9's event, setting up the who's next of who is going to be on Gorr's list. And that is going to be an Egyptian deity that has gone bad somehow, either Khonshu or Bast, as Bast originally is an Egyptian deity. The second thing is that Gorr the God Butcher needs a nerf. That's right, he's getting a nerf before he even comes out. Gorr at his full power would not have any reason to work with us, hence why he hasn't been. But if he is weakened, he may find a reason to find it advantageous for him to join our side to take down whatever god is stealing the godhood from others. And I have even more reasons why Gorr is getting gored before he comes out. Wait, hold up. Did we get off topic? Nope. All of that was all set up for why I'm arguing Gorr the God Butcher is going to be a duelist and not a Vanguard. Unlike Nightcrawler, where the comic appearances are the main reason why he should be a strategist, I can't claim that for Gorr at all. You were all right. The Gorr that we get in the comics would 100% be a Vanguard. The dude is huge. Well, is that it? Video over? I claim defeat? Nay, I say! For information inside Marvel Rivals is pointing to an evolution of Gorr that strays a bit away from the counterpart we find in the comics. But not enough to be unrecognizable, like something. So Gorr needing to be downgraded and weakened makes sense for him being a duelist, based off of what we know from his leaked voice lines. That's right, if you don't want spoilers, wrap those ugly tentacles you have on your head around your eyes and ears at the same time, because we're going back to the files. Let's take a look. Number 1. Doctor Strange mentions Gorr whispering in his mind. This is a hint that Gorr will not be as much of a raw, unbridled powerhouse and more of a corrupting force. Number 2. Blade's voice lines point out the Necrosword, so Gorr is clearly wielding it. Number 3. Black Cat's voice lines seemed grossed out by Gorr, and to be denying him. Again, proposing Gorr as somebody who is corrupting rather than overwhelming. Number 4. Spider-Man points out his ties to the symbiotes, which probably is of note, especially for a team-up. Number 5. Adam points out that even divine creatures are flawed, and questions Gorr's judgment, so at least it's clear his goals are still to take down the gods, even when he's on our side. And number 6. Captain America says,
begging your pardon, ma'am.
And that ma'am carrying a lot of weight here, suggesting that Gorr's depiction will probably be fitting something that an old-timer like Steve would confuse with a woman. Potentially wearing a robe like we saw in the depiction of Thor Love and Thunder, but also so alien that he does not have the ability to distinguish between male and female. So not the very human appearance we get in that same movie, and emphasizing a lot more of those head tentacles we see, exaggerating them to maybe make it look almost kind of like hair. Additionally, emphasizing Gorr's dehydrated, skinny appearance from the less powerful states that we saw him in, as Steve would probably not confuse the big, buff, fully powered Gorr with a woman. This insists that the Gorr that we are getting is a powered down version, not on par with some of his greatest feats. So we get it. Gorr's not going to be as big as he was usually depicted, but he's going to be tall and skinny and roped. This could all add up well to him being a duelist, but what about him being like Scarlet Witch? Look, I told you guys that was a joke, okay? Adding me in the comments is not going to help you. But there is some similarity in it that I think that Gorr is going to function a bit like an anti-tank still. But not that it can work like Iron Fist or Wolverine. It has to be a bit darker and have a bit of a mystical edge to it, with the shadow powers that he gains from the Necrosword. How I came to this conclusion, I will have to break down to you in this scene. Hey, are you awake? I've been studying Gorr to try to come up with a new video, and I want to go over some things with you.
I had a weird dream. I as like a necromancer or something. And we were like living in the countryside.
Necromancer?
Huh?
Oh my god, you are a genius. Thank you.
What?
Okay, that's not the only thing that inspired me. His theming, of course, made sense for me to have this darker direction. And also, I will admit that I was inspired by a video I saw by the YouTuber however you say his name. I robbed him blind. So go follow him if you want to see a lot more Marvel Rivals stuff, and so I don't feel so guilty about stealing his homework. So, yeah. Based on a lot of information I'm putting together, Gorr will use the Necro Sword to be a Necromancer. And I have further proof based off of what we've learned in this season. In the Murder Mystery event this season, we saw several pieces of information that tell us exactly how Gorr is going to function. 1. All Black the Necro Sword is specifically mentioned to carry undead energy. Not necrotic or dark, but undead. Gorr will be weakened because we are finding an undead Gorr, with Season 10 potentially starting with the death of Gorr. Number 2. There is mention of Apocalypse not being resurrected because of the Necrosword draining his soul. Gorr will have anti-resurrection effects as part of his abilities. Number 3, it is said that Venom had his blood drained, siphoned from his body from being hit by the Necrosword. This is a weird point to specifically make about Venom, a high bonus health tank that doesn't normally bleed as the symbiote takes the damage for Eddie himself. So Gorr will have bleed effects, drain effects, and will target bonus health somehow. Number 4, we see 3 powers mentioned and attributed to Gorr: bleeding, undeath, and the Phoenix Force. This insists Rebirth and Phoenix team-ups will be part of his kit. Number 5, we get a straight glimpse of a dark, skeletal creature that looks a bit like Gorr, but not enough like Gorr to be Gorr. And they wouldn't show us Gorr straight up like this. So, this has to be some kind of undead creature meant to be tied to Gorr, such as an undead minion, meaning he can summon undead minions. I'm designing Gorr to be the opposite of Thor, and to counter everything that the gods share in common. With each ability, I will elaborate a little bit on where I'm pulling it from, and also how it serves to butcher the gods. First, let's go into his health. While I don't have a solid number that I think he should be at, it should be relatively high for his role. Next, let's start off with his passive this time. Necro Strength. When you damage bonus health or regenerative shields, you will take it away from the enemy and gain it back as bonus health for yourself, up to a cap of course. This is inspired by his ability to drain power from the gods that he slays in the comics, bleed and drain blood from his foes just like we see in the game already, and a great expression to counter the gods, of course, especially Thor, is to do something that no other anti-tank really does yet, and drain bonus health and regenerative shields. His left click is All Black Slash. Perform a heavy blow that deals damage to enemies, and apply a stack of bleed. It would be cool if these attacks were slow, but heavy hitting, and a slightly longer range than Thor's melee, so he could stand and fight Thor without getting bonked into oblivion, but also still feel kinda like a Dark Souls boss. His right click is Living Abyss. Gorr drags his enemies towards him with a tentacle. This stops shy of reaching him if they go into his shadow realm, getting trapped there instead. If your target is bleeding already, then you will drain health from them as bonus health based off of their bleed stacks. We'll go over the Shadow Realm in a little bit, don't worry you Yu-Gi-Oh nerds. While Thor charges towards enemies and knocking them back, Gorr should grab enemies and bring them in. Again, kind of opposites. Gorr does not want Thor to get too close though, so getting some skill expression of sticking Thor right where he doesn't want to be would be a great direction. His E would be Dark Berserker. Spend all of your current bonus health and give it all to a monster that will protect you and attack bleeding enemies. You can have multiple Dark Berserkers active, but their bonus health will decay like normal. This is what the whole kit is built around, really. It's one of the most recognizable abilities he has from the comics, and is key to the Necromancer playstyle. Steal other people's bonus health, and then use that bonus health to summon minions. These minions will have 0 health naturally, so it's all blue all the time, no healing them, and they have a natural time limit. And now for his shift. Shadow Realm. Create an area of darkness that cancels any movement abilities or zone-based abilities used within. Gorr and his Dark Berserkers are faster, do more damage, and do not decay bonus health while inside. Lovingly called the anti-zone zone between Ishaliard and myself, this ability not only calls out the dark realms that Gorr fights in, but also was the first ability we came up with to counter Thor, Angela, and Loki, as all of them rely very heavily on creating spaces that you don't want to fight them. Gorr looks at them and says, "No, my space." Gorr's ultimate will be Infinity's End. Gorr will turn invisible. While invisible, he can teleport to a nearby target and stab them in the back, doing increased damage based on the bleed stacks that enemy has, and removing all of their bonus health and regenerative shields, giving it to Gorr as bonus health. That does indeed go beyond his normal capacity. If Gorr kills his target, then the target cannot be revived by any other abilities. Okay, everyone's first question is probably, why not the God Bomb? Well, I can't feed into the Wanda accusations from earlier too much, but seriously, the God Bomb sounds more like a plot point than an ability. We could actually potentially see it being the MacGuffin of next season. So I wanted to instead pull from something that I think would best fit his kit, still give great representation to his character as he's basically been using this move on all the potential gods we have seen, and act as an easy answer to these pesky gods who just keep coming back. Gorr's first team up is with Venom. Symbiote Subjugation. The base effect? Gorr demands symbiote power using the Necrosword, allowing Gorr's active Dark Berserkers to evenly split bonus health that Gorr loses from bonus health decayed. The enhanced effect, Venom will also evenly spread all of his bonus health that he decays between the different Dark Berserkers that Gorr has active. If Gorr did not team him up with Venom, I would be very surprised. And this is about as brutal as it could get, because having the highest bonus health pools in the game, adding to a source for keeping his minions alive, would be crazy. His second team up will be with Phoenix, and it'll be Raise Dead. Base effect, if an enemy dies inside of your Shadow Realm, you will raise a stationary undead minion from their corpse to fight for you. The enhanced effect, if an ally dies inside of your Shadow Realm, Phoenix will resurrect the ally using your current bonus health to give it to them. We already saw this stationary undead minion in-game. I don't think that the Shadow Berserker is going to be the one we saw in that little picture. No, that's going to be something different, and adding even more to his undead lich-like facade. Gorr and Nightcrawler should be created in consideration with each other. So, if we think back to the Nightcrawler video build, again, if you haven't watched that, go check it out here. If we look at how they play, they have both good counters and good synergy. Gorr counters Nightcrawler's ulti and teleportation abilities with his anti-bonus health and his anti-movement and his anti-resurrection. Nightcrawler's stealth and rapid melee healing works great to support his allies against Gorr's overwhelming numbers. But also, Gorr, as you may have noticed, has very limited movement abilities. Just the speed boost from his Shadow Realm and the teleport with his ulti. Nightcrawler being an ally that can teleport his other allies would alleviate that, being able to get Gorr into positions and making players immediately feel the benefit of having a Nightcrawler on your team. Meanwhile, Gorr helps Nightcrawler by having a ton of creatures for Nightcrawler to teleport and move around, making Nightcrawler feel like playing chess with Gorr's minions. But wait, this kit could 100% work as a Vanguard though. Why does it have to be a Duelist? Well, that's the neat part. It doesn't. This kit could 100% be used for a Brawl anti-tank Duelist like I think he's going to be, or a Vanguard if you feel like that is your fancy. A Gory Bogo. He just has to be an anti-tank Brawl character, and while patterns are currently pointing him in the direction of Duelist, there has been some chatter about Marvel Rivals breaking their release cadence temporarily to add only Strategists and Vanguards for the rest of this year. This chatter has no leaked sources I could find, so I would go off of the likelihood that Gorr is going to be a Duelist currently, as I think they're going to continue to follow their patterns until we know more. But NetEase does have someone who could frankly make a lot of sense as a Vanguard. But especially with the Hood's leaked abilities, making him into a dark, magic-wielding, clone-summoning, zone-controlling, potential shield tank. I highly doubt we will do the same thing twice in a row and get Gorr, who looks to already have a similar setup for his abilities. I think that would be too much overlap. Well, I guess that's it for video 2. A little earlier than what I probably would have released that normally, but I wanted to get this out ASAP. So, I've talked a big game about Marvel Rivals cadence and patterns, but as a new YouTuber, I'm looking for my own cadence and patterns for release. As previously stated, my goals are to bring education on gaming industry and trends to all of you from the insight of somebody, myself, who has worked as a game artist over 10 years of experience, as well as support the game developer community in any ways that I can with all of these layoffs going on. But I'm still learning things like when to schedule videos so I don't burn out. So if you want to support my mission, some awesome things you could do are the normal like, subscribe, support me on Patreon, and comment down below how often you think it would work for me to release long form and short form videos. I would really like to hear from the community on their thoughts, especially any experienced YouTubers who have good advice on what they see in my content. Well, how do you all feel about the rumors of only tanks and healers for the rest of the year? And while I've mentioned it several times already, if you want to see the video that leads into this video, go check out why Nightcrawler is definitely going to be a strategist up here, and go check out my artistic process on how I made my Unreal scene where Nightcrawler is in over here. Anyway, be kind to each other, support real artists, and see you later, critics!